South Korea-U.S. friction. After Hyundai LG Georgia raid, industrial strategy meets immigration enforcement, executive summary. On September 4, 2025, U.S. federal agents executed the largest single-site labor raid in American history at Hyundai Motor Group and LG Energy Solutions' $4.3 billion EV battery plant under construction in Ellabell, Georgia. Nearly 475 workers were detained, with more than 300 South Korean nationals among them, some of whom held valid visas or had entered under the Visa Waiver Program. Images of workers' shackled hand, waist, and ankles triggered outrage in Seoul. After intense diplomatic negotiation, South Korea secured a deal to repatriate the majority of its nationals via chartered flight. The incident exposed a structural contradiction. The U.S. government is simultaneously extracting massive Korean investment, over $350 billion under recent trade agreements, while subjecting Korean labor to humiliating immigration enforcement. BBIU opinion. The Metaplant raid. Capital welcomed, workers shackled. Structural context. The September 4th raid at Hyundai LG's Metaplant in Georgia was not an accident of law enforcement. It revealed a contradiction at the heart of the U.S.-Korea partnership. Washington demands billions in Korean capital and technology to reindustrialize America, while criminalizing the very flows of skilled labor required to make those projects operational. This analysis builds on our earlier coverage. Immigration raid at Hyundai LG Energy site in Georgia, BBIU Global Key Observations. 1. Industrial immigration contradiction. The U.S. seeks Korean money and know-how but denies legal channels for Korean specialists to work on site. For years, companies filled the gap with ESTA and B-1 visas, tolerated workarounds that have now been weaponized under Trump's law and order framework. 2. Domestic political overlay. Local MAGA figures, such as Tory Branham, reframed a $4.3 billion investment into an anti-immigration symbol. Trump himself plays both sides, defending ICE for doing the right thing while calling the incident regrettable and hinting at pathways to bring experts to train Americans. 3. Korea's diplomatic response. Seoul secured a release within 64 hours, repatriating workers under voluntary departure to avoid deportation records. Yet this was tactical damage control, not structural reform. Korea remains exposed to future enforcement shocks. 4. Opportunity in crisis. Trump's statement about bringing experts to train Americans can be leveraged to push for the E-4 Visa Act, 15,000 slots, or executive fixes such as H-3J1 training programs. To be credible in Washington, Korea must frame these as train-the-trainer programs with measurable skill transfer to U.S. workers. Political Layer 1. Trump's dilemma. Base expectation. MAGA activists want uncompromising enforcement. Branham turned the raid into a trophy, binding Trump closer to the hardline narrative. Strategic reality. Without legal visa pathways for Korean technicians, U.S. megaprojects stall. The burden of delay is now U.S.-made, not Korean. Result? Trump must reconcile law and order politics with the need to deliver jobs and investments. 2. The Branham factor. Branham's self-attribution raises suspicions of political maneuvering. At minimum, it shows MAGA hardliners can set the agenda independently of Trump. If there was even partial coordination with Democratic actors amplifying the fallout, the raid becomes a double-bind trap. Trump carries the political cost, while both MAGA hardliners and Democrats benefit. 3. Korea's hidden leverage. Seoul now holds subtle leverage. It can point to U.S. institutions as the cause of delayed capital outflows. If Trump wants to unblock projects and demonstrate progress before November, he must act, either through visa adjustments or compensatory concessions, tariffs, symbolic gestures. 4. Election pressure. With 2 months until the election, Trump cannot appear weak. Yet he cannot afford stalled projects either. Georgia is a swing state. The likeliest outcome is rhetorical balancing. ICE praised, Korea reassured, but substantive visa reforms postponed until after November. BBIU strategic judgment. The Metaplant raid marks the first stress test of Korea's $350 billion+ investment strategy in the U.S. It demonstrates that without structural guarantees, legal visa channels, contractual clauses for migration contingencies, and enforceable training commitments, every project remains hostage to domestic populism. Korea faces 2 options: continue investing and hope diplomatic firefighting contains each crisis. Demand institutional alignment, visa architecture and compliance frameworks as non-negotiable conditions for capital deployment. The raid was not a masterstroke of Trump's design. It was a MAGA-initiated move that politically cornered him. Now, Trump bears responsibility for an investment delay created on U.S. soil, while under electoral pressure to prove reindustrialization is working. For Korea, this paradox creates leverage. Trump needs to resolve the bottleneck more than Seoul does, but his political constraints prevent immediate action. This dynamic will shape negotiations in the weeks ahead and may turn what was staged as a law and order victory into a liability for Trump's November campaign.